Well, greetings and salutations. Um, this is kind of a spontaneous thing here. As usual, we all know that Riley can't think, but apparently Riley can't read either. And I'm quite sure that he's going to display that here in a second. Um, I just got home from work, and instead of enjoying my first few minutes home from work after receiving my level 3 certification, finally, and I was hoping to spend some quality time, which I will be doing anyway, but some quality time with my son on his computer, which he just got, and it just keeps on blowing up on us. Um, I was reading, uh, I was reading the comments that continued on after I was not able to comment anymore this afternoon, and which Riley was getting just all fucking wrong. Well, I come home to find out that Riley had posted a video about 4 hours ago, um, stating that I admitted the curvature, or that curvature was not the thing that we're seeing in Isle of Man. And as a matter of fact, let's see here, screen share. And what I'm going to do, share. Okay, I have not watched this video yet. Okay, haven't watched it yet. And let me show you the comment section that I'm speaking about. Make sure this gets put up here because I don't know if he's going to show it or anything like that. But let me go ahead and expand all these out just so we can scroll all the way through them. I probably will not be reading these verbatim, but there might be a time where it comes necessary to read something because Riley just has no sense of comprehension of what I told him. And it turned into a simple matter of him saying, "Oh, well, you just admitted it, and all this other stuff." Anyway, this is Isle of Nowhere video. This was the post that I made because of the fact that Riley had said that my diagrams in that Isle of Nowhere video were a hat tip to in support of FE, which they really weren't. They were actually the absurdity of the claim that you can't see all of the Isle of Man across a plane because of dirty air, or well, I mean that was the only explanation that was ever offered up. I think Ranty was actually the one that made that claim, dirty air. I only saw it in passing, but just to show you here. Oops. Come on. And today I find out and what they were saying was a hat tip was this scene right here, which is pretty much like this for the whole rest of the video. And they're basically saying that, with the mountain here, now obviously, Buddy Boy comes to me and says that the shit wasn't to scale. Yeah, or was it Buddy Boy? I don't remember. Somebody came to me and said the shit wasn't to scale. Yeah, because this would be, I think it was 32 times taller than this. So we won't even go into that. But apparently, across a plane, this part just becomes missing. Okay, from up here. Okay, so all this bullshit about I was, doing a hat tip to it and stuff like that. No, this is your claim. This is the flat Earth claim. Okay, that somehow this in the middle is just missing. Okay, they don't know why, but it's just missing. And dirty air, I'm sorry, doesn't cover it because dirty air would be an obstruction to your view. Okay, it would obstruct your view. Therefore, if you were standing here or standing here and there was dirty air between here, you wouldn't see it. So therefore, you wouldn't even know what you were looking at in the first place. But anyway, nevertheless, let me go ahead and bring this over here. So this is probably going to go a couple minutes long. I don't know, but we'll find out here in a second. His video is 13 minutes long, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to tolerate it that long, but I'm going to give it my best shot. Okay, so let's see. And yes, I do have the chat open, but I'm not going to be, I don't know if I'm going to be addressing it. And yes, that's very funny, Kaiser. Dirty air, but somehow stars aren't affected. Anyway, so let's go ahead and do this. Like I said, I haven't watched this yet. I just saw that it was up here, and I was like, well, I'm not even, I still have my jacket on. But let's go ahead and do this, get this knocked out, because I have better things to do with my son today. All right, so let's see this. Okay, first of all, Sly Sparkane admits that it's not curvature that's obstructing the land that we see at Bride. Okay. First thing, bullshit. Okay. I have said no such thing because there would be no reason for me to say such a thing. Okay. I have also openly said in that hangout that I had with Riley on my channel about the separation between the north half and the rest of Isle of Man, the part that's missing, which he started to go around claiming it was Ireland because you couldn't see the connection between the two, is because of the curve. Okay, it's too low. You can't see it. Period. Anyway, so let's see what he says.
Okay, so I'm going to do this video really quickly before Sly removes his comment. On the video, on Sly's channel, published.
Hold on a second. Before I don't remove comments, dude. Okay, ever. I don't even remove your comments. Think about that. Anyway, continuing. Let me turn this up a little bit louder. It looks like it's going to be a little bit low. Actually, what I got to do is I got to move the mic a little closer. Sorry if this makes a bunch of noise, guys. Like I said, this is kind of spontaneous. Let's see. I'll put this up here. Let's see what the level looks like when I do that. All right, I'm going to scoot it back just a second.
The video on Sly's channel, published on the 14th of Feb, Sly proves that the Earth is flat and that the obstruction that we see is not because of the curvature of the Earth, it's because of reflection that appears as obstruction to the observer that the ball earthers think is of the curvature of the Earth. Now, it doesn't matter what the video context is.
Of course not. It doesn't matter what the video context is. Thank you. I could pretty much just hang up right now. You need to actually, oh, and thanks for the downvote, by the way. You need to actually show what it is that the context of this video was about, which is basically, why is it that nobody, as many times as you guys have been back there, okay, I personally can't go there, so this is just me wishing, okay, but why nobody takes a picture from down here? He's been arguing for like a month and stuff like that, back and forth about, oh, you know, the height here, and then they went out there with a stick and a tape measure and measured about halfway down and all this other crap and all this other stuff, and he keeps on trying to press me for measurement numbers where, you know, I'm sorry, you know, the only time I see these little hangouts and stuff is at work on my phone, and so really, anyway.
Other than to say, I asked Sly why was it in this particular video he has this bit patch of land that he removes there. But I asked him to explain that because a ball earther's depiction of a flat earther's environment would never, ever, ever acknowledge this.
Really? Hold on. Oh, this is going to be a long fucking video. Hold on. Let me go ahead and, oh, no, that's the Hangout. That's not what I was looking for. I thought I had another one open. Oh, I do have another one open. Okay. Let's see. It's one of Oakley's videos. Wow. Let me see something here. Oakley, Nathan. Oh, yeah, what am I doing? Nathan Oakley. It was one of his hangouts where, what's his name? Ranty was talking. And it was one of the more recent ones. You know, now that they finally got away from thinking that Ireland's in this shit. Let's see. So I'm going to go back probably about 140 maybe. Oh, shut up. Okay. Give me a second here. Like I said, I need to figure out where this was that he was talking about this. Okay, now I used a white background there, whereas if I recall correctly, if memory serves me right, Ranty used a black strip. Hold on a second. Nope, it's not 140. Sorry, I gotta dive through this here. Well, here, I'll show you diving through it. Let's see here. Well, that was 140. What about 139? And yes, I have participated in the chat on these things. Riley likes to spit out questions and then not read the chat and act like I'm not answering. You need to scroll back into those videos there, Riley, and see that I was actually answering you, because Nathan is kind enough to actually show the chat going up the side there. Where is it? This is another one of those arguments. Okay, not 139. Let's maybe move up one, 141 maybe. Look, he's smiling. Ignorance is bliss. No, I think we're at the point now where they're hollering about oh my god, really? SpaceX? You guys can't even measure a fucking hill. That was what, 41? Is that where I just went? Yeah, this is where he was hollering at me. That was funny. Trying to get me to produce a measurement on my phone. Let's see. Chris, I just noticed that you asked me this. Am I going to invite Riley in if he asks? Probably not. Tired of hearing him speak. And plus, if you're going to put out a video this stupid, I no, I'm just not going to. Where the hell was it? Like I said, it was Ranty. I know it was Ranty that was talking. Did I just do 138? I think I just did 138. And yes, we're going to pain through this. I'm sorry. Now, if I had more time, I would have prepared for this, but like I said, my son hasn't heard from me half of the week because I've been studying for certification, which, here it is right here, which I actually got today. So I am, oh, no need to apologize, Chris. It's 100%, man. This right here is where Riley was, or not Riley, Ranty. Let me make sure. I think there was a part in here where he actually had it cutting through a mountain. I don't remember. Okay, well, he doesn't have it cutting through a hill, but I do remember this part here. Okay, now what he's basically saying here, and I don't want to go through here sound biting, but maybe I should try.
Well, effectively, it's like this, right? If you're on a hill, right, you're on your hill there, and there's your boat. Well, there's the crappy air. There's the band of crappy air that's sitting on the sea, right?
Crappy air sitting on the sea.
Underneath it, I'll put the sea as well. Sorry if this is it's only gonna take a couple of minutes to show you this, but I think it's worth showing.
It's good. This is exactly the reason why we can't see Ramsey. It's not due to the curvature. It's due to what sits on the horizon.
Well, there we have the sea, right? There we have the band of crappy air above it. And lastly, I'm going to put a little boat on. I don't know, just some of that. There's the boat, right? So I'm just going to stick it there.
Oh,
so when you're up here,
at this point.
so when Anthony's up there and he's looking at it, and then
Hey, Dawn
do a red
Treader,
line
just joined to
time.
leave and snipe, have you? Wonderful.
Okay, so when he's looking down at the boat from this elevation, he's avoiding looking through all this mucky air.
Sorry.
Hey, Dawn Treader, can you hear us? Can you say a quick hello?
Looking through.
Hello. Sorry.
Hello, how you doing? I'm a giraffe.
So he's avoiding looking through all this mucky air. He's only looking through a very small fraction of it here, the last part of it, because he's looking down into the boat. As he lowers his
channel.
elevation.
Look like a snipey snipe channel as well. Let's get rid of you.
Right, so as he lowers his elevation, he's looking through a little bit more of the mucky air. And when he gets to sea level, and he's looking at the boat now, what he's effectively doing is he's looking through all this dirty air now. Well, am I still displaying or am I not?
Yeah, you're still displaying. It's all good. You're doing really well.
Okay.
That sounds toxic and disgusting to me.
Hey, P, how you doing?
Well,
Good to have you.
so yeah, so this is what we experience. Above the water, we have all this dirty air, and it's only I wouldn't care to guess how tall it is, but it's not very high, but it's enough that when you're looking through it this way, we've got a build up here of miles and miles of dirty air. But when you go above that and you get out of the mucky air and you look down into it, you don't get that distortion.
That's exactly what we're seeing. Yeah.
Thank you.
Which is what was been evidenced in these boats. This was
And
at 60 feet. And then when we've gone lower.
Okay, now according to what he's saying here is that this is dirty air. Dirty air, to all cleaning companies out there, dirty air reflects. Okay, so so this is what I was showing here was just the missing part. I didn't put the strip of dirty air there because it was going to look pretty silly. Okay, dirty air. So scroll back just a touch. What'd you say, Riley?
Of land that he removes there. But I asked him to explain that because a ball earther's depiction of a flat earther's environment would never, ever, ever acknowledge this. And I accused and suggested that he was tipping his cap because nobody else credits the flat earth explanation for this, the observations that we did, the floaty land. Nobody acknowledges this as an evidence, right? They ignore it. Nobody, not one baller, has ever said to me, yeah, there is a bit of some kind of somewhat weird going on there. It does give the appearance of a floaty earth, floaty land. And I asked repeatedly to explain this.
Okay, so he's saying that nobody ever does that. Okay. Ranty did it, dude, and you agreed with it. Okay, all I was showing was what you guys were showing. You guys were blaming it on dirty air, but everything else was just fine. Okay, so don't even start, dude. Okay, right? Yeah, dirty air, right? Well, I don't make fun of people's accents because I don't even know what we sound like to them. But anyway, let me go back to now. He says that okay.
Repeatedly to explain this, and I've got him cornered, and he's beautifully done it. So Riley claims that the blank area where I put at the base of the Isle of Man, which is this area here, was a hat tip in support of FE. It absolutely was. It was also a trap slide. What he didn't grasp is that represented the area of the Isle of Man, which they claim just disappeared due to dirty air. That's the floaty land. Maybe it does. But you're the only one that's ever acknowledged this, Sly. The only one. Why is that?
No, actually, I spelled it out to you. Okay, rather cynically, actually. But they claim that piece of land disappeared due to dirty air.
So you could say it was a hat tip to the absurdity of the claim. And I'm going to like that comment because he knows. Sly knows he knows damn well what I'm getting at here. So
Really?
There is absolutely no reason whatsoever to do that on a representation of a flat plane, is there? This is from a baller's perspective. Okay, no baller would ever do that on a representation of a flat plane. You guys would assert that we should see it all. it's most unlikely that you are actually replicating our evidential claim of floating land on a flat plane, as you guys do not acknowledge it as anything at all because there is no science to explain it. So I'm trying to get him I'm baiting him here. This is bait. Now I have your attention. Please tell me what the current science is to explain why the land appears to be floating. Okay, another way of wording this is, what's the obstruction that we see? The layer of air it seems to be sitting on is the same.
No. Not what that's the twist right there. What's the obstruction we see? No. I stopped reading his comment here. Okay, you're going to see that in a second in my reply. Okay, because I kind of look at some of these comments a little bit like the Bible. If the first chapter doesn't make any sense, I don't read the rest of it. And the reason why I don't read the rest of it is because if you put out some bullshit like this, there's no science to explain it. In this case, no science to explain a mirage, which is covering only a sliver and does not make up for the missing amount of vertical island that's not in the picture. Okay, that little bitty sliver does not make up for missing Ramsey or the entire kind of midsection of the Isle of Man. Doesn't make up for it. It's a little sliver, and I acknowledge that that there is an inferior mirage going on there. Of course I do. You can see the damn thing. Okay, it would be ignorant to not do that. However, that's where I stopped. Okay, and you'll see that in my reply. There's also another gentleman who came into here who seems to be a skeptic and all this, but he's rather calm-toned and all this, and I'm cool with that. I'll talk to a skeptic. I won't talk to. I'm not going to treat Riley as a skeptic. Okay, Riley is a flat earther. Okay, and the worst kind, the one that's just stupid and ignorant. Okay, so anyway, but we'll continue.
Color as the sky, which by your accepted mantra, logic and reason, can only allude to it being an inferior mirage of the land above. Correct? If not, please tell me what's going on here, Sly. Don't obfuscate and skate around the issue with irrelevant conjecture. Answer that one question.
Don't skate around it. Dude, you won't even answer my one simple question. It's the simple question that was the summary of the entire video, which was, why don't you take a picture from the shoreline? Okay, really, why don't you take a picture from the shoreline down at the water? Nobody gives a damn about your inability to measure things. Okay, nobody does. It makes for good entertainment, but as many times as you guys have been back, take a picture from the damn shoreline. Okay, down, put your feet in the water and take a picture. Okay, do that. Feet in the water, take a picture, Isle of Man.
What is the current science to explain why the land appears to be floating, please? I know you are not like the rumpus. You can be concise. What's going on, please? M. Scott Veach says that we're becoming seriously incoherent. He's at a loss as to how you think.
Right. He didn't like the comments by Scott here. But anyway.
Blah blah blah. I do respond to M. Scott Veach, but ignore it for the purposes of this video.
Okay.
Sly then responds, and
okay. Now, before he reads this out loud, he's probably going to get it screwed up. Okay. Notice. Okay, one thing that I do is especially when a flat earther puts together a comment, I like to make sure that I address the individual points of the comment, because many times there's multiple points being made, and I like to answer each one of them. Okay, that's called being concise. That's called being that's itemizing the post to give an answer. Okay, because I can't just to a long post like that, I can't just say yes, no, inferior mirage. You can't do that. And as with most posts from flat earthers. But anyway, you will see that I answered here, and I don't edit my stuff, by the way. Okay, if I have a post that I screw up on, I will write it in the next post. My bad, I meant to say this. I don't edit it because I don't want anybody to ever be able to say that I edited a post. Now, I'll edit a post if there was nothing in it. and all this, or if I'm not really in an active conversation with somebody, or I'll even write down at the bottom, hey, I screwed up a number, my bad. Okay, but you will see no edits. Okay, so, and you'll see that the last part that I quoted, because there is no science to explain it. Okay, so anyway, continuing.
Literally, the one question I ask him, he doesn't address. So
Wait, what?
M. Scott Veach then does respond to it.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Literally, the one question.
The
M.
one
Scott Veach
question
says
you
that we're
asked, I
becoming
didn't
skate and
address.
skate around the issue with irrelevant conjecture.
He asked, where is it? Okay. There's absolutely no reason whatsoever to do that on a representation of a flat plane, is there? Okay, well, that's a question. Okay. But since I stopped here, his question is, what is the current science to explain why land appears to be floating, please? Okay. Where he says that it doesn't, there's no science to explain it. So hold on. Okay, let me.
Scott Veach says that we're becoming serious,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. I do respond. Slide there, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
I do respond to M. Scott Veach, but ignore it for the purposes of this video. Sly then responds, and literally the one question I ask him, he doesn't address.
Okay. One question that, now I noticed that he was about to scroll further. So let me address this. And I'll read it out loud. Riley says, you guys assert that we should see it all. Okay, meaning the Isle of Man. And that is still my assertion. You should see it all, or you should see the shore, Ramsey, and all the rest of Isle of Man. Okay. So, and I said across a plane, yes, it all, or yes, all. Okay. Then he says it is most unlikely that you are actually replicating our evidential claim, okay, of a floating land on a flat plane. And I wrote back, of course, you don't say that this is your claim, but this is what your claim is, meaning that the diagram that I had shown, okay, and also which Randy showed. Then, let's see. I said the lower part of the island is missing for reasons, but it's missing. And then he says, because there's no science to explain it. And I wrote back, whoever said that? Oh, you said that. The mirroring portion, because this is where this all goes south. The mirroring portion, when visible, okay, because we all know that inferior mirages, they're due to temperature and all this other stuff. So sometimes they're big, sometimes they're small. Okay. The mirroring portion, when visible, is an inferior mirage, not difficult. But this does not account for the required vertical space which should be occupied by the missing land. A photo from the shore will show this even more. Now, hold on. Don't make me bust out PowerPoint this early in the evening. What that means, okay, here, mountain, okay? I'm not going to draw out the Isle of Man. Just not going to do it. Water, okay? I'll put this out, well, no, I'll leave it there. And let's see, shape fill. I will no fill this so you can actually see it when it goes behind it. Okay. Now, and then what I'm going to put on here is this is going to be my inferior mirage. Okay. Sorry, I'm not going to go into any kind of wild graphics about it right now, and I'll make it yellow. Okay. Now, in the inferior mirage, you will find the entire area above it reflected back upwards. Okay. The whole thing of the area that's seen there. Okay. Of the area that's seen above it. This is being the terminator of the inferior mirage. That's why sometimes it looks like floating land, because of the fact that The reflection includes the sky above it. That reflection, so the sky behind it here is going to make it look like it's the same color. Well, it's going to be the same color, so it's going to make it look like the land is floating. Okay, simple enough. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a red outline, shape, no fill. Okay, but if you were to do out the angles, you would see in this example, okay, you would see this is why we superimpose a known good, which is what you got wrong on that damn boat video. Okay, where this is, where the inferior mirage is, still covers, in this example, still covers the amount of vertical space required to show that height. Okay. However, in the Isle of Man videos, it's not that way. Okay. The Isle of Man videos, it's down a little bit further. Okay. Still got an inferior mirage at the surface of the water. But this amount of area does not compensate and does not cover the amount of space viewed for this amount of vertical stuff missing. Okay? For this amount of stuff missing. That's what I said. And I will show you the words again. You even highlighted it. I said, not difficult, but this does not account for the required vertical space which should be occupied by the missing land. Meaning, this missing land, this amount of space does not occupy all of this. Okay? It's not high enough. Okay? So, that's what I said. Now, from here, he just goes completely off the charts. Okay? Ready?
So M. Scott Veach then does respond to it, and he says the answer to my question is that it's called a Fata Morgana, which we all, of course, know that it isn't. A Fata Morgana is an inversion above, not an inversion below.
Fata Morgana is also used as a general term for mirage. Okay? Just relax on that shit.
So that's correct. That's clearly wrong. So we can dismiss that. Sly then says something else, and I've said,
Wait. I said something else. Yes, I said this. I said, wait until he realizes that you can't have an inferior or superior mirage without curvature. I know you're going to make about 12 videos on that. Because, yes, I said it.
You haven't answered the one question I asked you, Sly. Let's try again. What is the current science explanation for the floating land?
Which I explained.
Land has a thin layer of sky-coloured air separating it from the water horizon. What is it, please?
Yes, and I explained it. Okay? It's an inferior mirage. And now I'm going to go into even further detail.
Clear question, clear answer required. Here we go. How many times does it need to be answered? Well, once would be enough. Then
I did answer it once, dumbass.
Stop pecking your head. In your video or photos, first, the inferior mirage is the little strip at the bottom that looks like sky. I agree. It is an inferior mirage. It's not.
Thank you.
A superior mirage.
So it's not dirty air. So you can go tell Ranty that.
M. Scott Veach. I guess you missed that class that day. This is the most important bit. This appears as a reflection. The whole area above it is reflected vertically inverted in that small horizon section. I agree completely.
Good.
To include a portion of the sky above it, which is why it looks to you like you're seeing through it, the sky in the mirage is the same color as the sky itself. I completely agree.
Good. Still don't know what the problem is.
You guys claim that if it's dirty air or whatever, from the observer would appear as an obstruction, not a reflection. I'm going to read that again. You guys claim that it is dirty air or whatever, which from the observer would appear as an obstruction. This is the same obstruction that Miles the Liar Davis, and all the ball earthers claim is the curvature of the Earth.
No. You bonehead. No. This is where you fall apart, Riley. Check it out. You guys claim that it's dirty air. I am talking about the inferior mirage strip. Okay? That's what I'm talking about. The inferior mirage strip. Okay? The very same thing that even Ranty and you agreed with. Where was that? Remember? Here, you agreed with the strip of dirty air, which somehow dirt reflects. You guys, I said you guys claim that that it is dirty air or whatever, which from the observer would appear as an obstruction. Okay, what that means is that this, the floaty air, which you're calling dirty air, would actually appear in whatever color possible as an obstruction, not a reflection. Dirty air is dirty air. Look up smog if you need to learn something. Okay.
So does Paul Voigt. So does the Rumpus. You all claim that this obstruction is the curvature of the Earth.
No. Not one person. But here's the funny part. Now, if you're trying to say that we are swapping the dirty air for a mirage, or for obstruction, then you must be talking about in a similar sense. I just because I have this video right here. Then this water, which we are saying is obstructing the view. Yes, there is an inferior mirage going on here. Okay, all the way up to this line. Then what you think we are saying is that this water is dirty air, which is the curvature of the Earth. What? Nothing about that makes sense. Nobody is making that claim. Nobody is saying that this here is dirty air. And I know I'm looking at the boat and not the Isle of Man stuff, but the Isle of Man stuff is the same thing. It's water here. Okay? Just pointing that out. Nobody is saying that this here is dirty air. This is curvature of the Earth. Okay? Or in this case, it's water. Okay? So.
But Slice of Arcane now shows exactly what's going on, and I agree completely. Which, from the observer, would appear as an obstruction, not a reflection.
Yes, I said it would, that if it was dirty air, if this was dirty air, the inferior mirage, if it was dirty air, which is what they are claiming, if the inferior mirage was dirty air, it would appear as an obstruction. You wouldn't see this reflection. Okay, this would be a band of crap right here in the middle. Jesus. Oh, and by the way, in case you're about to say something else about this being the dirty air being discussed, this is water. Since when does water look like dirty air? Anyway.
Basically telling us that we're not seeing the curvature of the Earth, we're seeing a mirage, which they all tell us is the curvature.
When the, oh my God. Two words. No, Riley.
Do you understand how important that comment is?
Yeah, do you understand how easy that comment is to read?
He's telling us that which is normally described as curvature is actually reflection, which appears as obstruction, which they all call curvature.
How the hell did you get that? Really? How the hell did you get that out of that? Man. Bonehead.
If you were looking across a flat plain, you would see the whole island to include Ramsey from any height. No.
Yes. If you were looking across a flat plain, you would see the whole island to include Ramsey from any height. Any height.
Oh, because if the sky above is being inverted underneath as an inferior mirage, Why do you think that the town of Ramsey, is not visible if the sky above it is being flipped underneath it?
Because you wouldn't get the inferior mirage if it was a plane.
The way we see on both sides of Ramsey. We see it on both sides. In fact, what I'm going to do...
And by the way, you don't see Ramsey, even from the hill, which is the other point here. You don't see Ramsey, even from the hill. Okay? Which is why I keep on telling you, and I've said it a number of times, I don't care about numbers at this particular moment. Okay? Because the numbers are there to further define the observation. The numbers do not create the observation. So you need to start with the observation. And if you... So, yeah. Hold on. Somebody just sent me something here. Sweet. I'm going to have to... Now, Sound, that you sent me this stuff. Am I cool showing it? Because I'll probably wrap up with it when that time comes. All right. Well, anyway, let me continue on here while he's responding.
I'll pull my video up and I'll show it.
Go ahead, show it.
Now we see clearly that the land lips back on itself there.
It lips back on itself. Do you know what that area is? Because I've actually found this little break of trees in street view on Isle of Man.
That tells us that there is a flipping of the image above it, and it's being flipped down, and that flipping back on itself is the reflection of this nose cone part of this plane. Imagine that's a plane. There's the nose cone of the plane, and it's flipping round on itself. Soundly also shows us the same thing. Soundly shows it in all of his Pontchartrain videos. Now, if we know that there is a mirage going on there, an inferior mirage, an inversion of the sky above it, where do you think the town of Ramsey is, Sly?
First of all, let's talk about how high this inversion is. Okay. Now, I worked it out the other day that I think the mountain's called Snæfell, whatever. Hold on, let me go ahead and do this so I don't say a general number. Let me go ahead and give you a number. Tools. Triangle calculator. Now, what was it? Hold on. I know we're not supposed to use Google Earth anymore for elevations, but let's just get a point here. Okay. Let's see. Here's Snæfell. Snæfell is, it was like 600 something. Okay, this is Snæfell. Okay, so we'll say 610. Okay, 610. Just using this as basic numbers here. This is not going to become a calculation for the curvature of the Earth. All right, just slow down. Okay. So 610. Oops. Okay, so 610 meters. A. 610. This guy right here. Okay. Distance to it from St. Bees. I'm sure you guys probably know this backwards and forwards by now, but I don't spend as much time on this as you think I do. All right, so now I'm just going to do a distance from the shoreline here. It's going to be a difference of about maybe 10 meters. Okay, but I'm just going to go from the shoreline. Doesn't matter. Okay, now this comes down to in meters. 61,000. Ground length, map length. Okay, we'll go for ground length. Well, no, we'll go for map length because I want to give you the benefit of the doubt here. Watch this. 61,162. Okay, 61,162. Everybody's cool with that? 61,162. 61,162. Okay, that is the distance. Okay, calculates. What I want to know is this angle right here, which is right here. 0.571 degrees. Okay, 0.571 degrees. Now, the reason why I'm showing you that is because of the fact that, oops, those are the comments. If the entire, actually I have that whole damn image. Hold on. Or I might not have that one. I have the previous one. So I need to, where's that? Sorry. So where's it? Oh, I think this is it. Yeah, full contrast. That's it. That's the image you gave me, Riley. Okay. From, I think it's here or here. Who cares? This is 0.57 degrees of your field of view from the water to the top of, I think it's this peak, isn't it? Correct me if I'm wrong. Either one. Doesn't matter at this moment. Okay. One of these two big suckers, but I think it's this guy. Okay. You're getting the same thing here. Okay. So, hold on. That's like 0.0 something. Okay. Is what's going on here. Okay. That is such a minuscule part of what is going on the Isle of Man, or what is being viewed on the Isle of Man. Okay. Now, if I go over to a town called Ramsey, I swear, man, they're gonna put a monument of you in this on this island. Hold on. Okay, the town of Ramsey, or actually, hold on. I know an even better way to do this. Where is? I have that neat tool, which somebody sent me as part of another discussion. This thing's cool. Hold on a second. So, full screen that. I know you guys hate survey maps too, but okay, now this one, I think it was 7 was the good one. 7 the clean one? No, 7 doesn't have it. Which one was it? Hold on. It's 8. This one's got it, but it's hard to read. Hold on. I need a benchmark in there somewhere. There's higher ones, but I want one kind of close. No, that's US, US, US. I thought this one had it on it. Okay. Yeah, but this one's broken into very large portions here. Okay, now we're getting a little closer. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so each one of these is 25 meters. No, each one of these. I'm sorry, each one of these is 20 meters. There's 5 portions. Okay, so 100 meters, 80, 70, 60, 50, 40, 30, 20. So right here is up to 20. Oh, shit. And it even comes up. Okay. So everything here is between 20 and 40 meters above the water. Okay. Everything here. All the way up to the shoreline. Okay. Now, 20 and 40 meters. Whereas, where's the picture? This here is 600. Okay. This does not account for that amount of space for the up to 40 meters. Okay. This does not account for that. Now, even further, let's find out how high where those trees are, because I actually did find it. Where was it? I found it on Street View, and it's plain as day. I think it was down here somewhere that I found it. Okay, because it's right there. Hold on. Can I go down this way, I think? Okay, there's that nubby right there. Okay, hold on. That nubby right there is that nubby right there. That little guy right there. Okay, those are the same thing. I'm a little bit further out, like out here, looking at it, not directly at it, but about out here. Okay, cool. All right. Now, let's find out how high that little nub is. Just to know. Okay, exit Street View. And as you saw, that little nub is this right here. This spot right here. Okay. This little nub is 133 meters. Okay. 133. So, let me go ahead and take this. I'm going to drop this out of here. And I'm going to put it into Corel. Hold on. Okay, so here's this. Then I will get his image here, full contrast 6. Where's the background? Sorry. Okay. So that, what did we just have that at? About 130 meters? Now I know we're supposed to have 30 meters and stuff like that, but since you guys screw all this stuff up anyway, I'm going to say I don't care. Okay. 135, 136 meters. Okay. So, this is what I'm going to do. Probably a bunch of easier ways to do this, but I'm going to do it this way. Just because I'm me. So, from the top of that down to the water, Control C, in from clipboard. It's fucking tiny. Okay. So, 137 meters. We can get some pixels and we can get some heights here. Okay. It stops there. I'm actually 1 pixel too high. Drop the mask. And I'm 1 too low. Drop the mask. Okay. So this is that height right there. 137 meters. Okay. Not including the trees. Well, it's including the trees. Excuse me. Okay. So, how many pixels do we have here? Paper size. Excuse me. Paper size. Height is 22. So, we'll go like this. 137 divided by 22 equals, okay, 6.22 meters. We'll say 6.23, rounded up. 6.23 meters for the per pixel. Okay, 6.23 meters per pixel. I made no adjustments in size. All I did was zoom in on it. Okay, so come on. All right. Now I'm going to make this a little bit easier to see. I'm going to go like this. Control C. Control V. Okay. Now, if Riley's right, then from here, the point to here, okay, should be 40 meters. Okay. Now let's get cut it down in the water. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Whoa, whoa. Whoa. I just realized I'm doing a measurement from back there. Oh, wow. That's going to be a little screwy. Hold on a second here. Doop, 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 doop. Because that is from that height right there. Well, let me see what we get here first. Okay. Now, mind you, this is for the distance here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 5 equals 31. Okay? 31. 31 meters is missing here. Okay? Not 40 with buildings and trees. Okay? Not 40 with buildings and trees. Cool? Okay? It is not what is going on there at the Isle of Man, and it damn sure is not making Olive Ramsey stuck into this little spot here. Okay? It's just not. Okay? Here's Ramsey. Ramsey has some low points and some high points, and none of them are visible. Okay? Here's the higher points of Ramsey, which would actually be a little bit more in line. Okay? None of them are visible. Cool? So, continuing on.
Is it not possible, probable, logically reasonable to think that the sky above it is being reflected underneath it, and it's blotting out that whole town?
And here's what you also got to notice here. That was on the image that I was using. This image is even closer to the water. Yes, this little bit right here is an inferior mirage. Okay, this little bit right here. And were the image a lot clearer and stuff like that, you would actually be able to see that. Okay? Yeah, okay.
And don't forget, the amount of curvature here is huge, right? Way huge. So what you're telling us is the curvature of the Earth is essentially reflection that the observer interprets it to be obstruction. I agree with you. So we see it there, and then as we go across the island, we see it there as well. So there is a band of sky that's blocking out the lower land that's here. And Sly confirms it. It appears as obstruction to the observer. Let's go back to what Sly says. You guys claim it's dirty air or whatever, from which the observer would appear as an obstruction, not a reflection. So the obstruction that we're seeing isn't the curvature of the Earth, is it? It's the air above it being reflected in a mirage below it, known as...
Oh, God. Riley. The inferior mirage is there. Everybody knows that. Everybody can see that. Okay. Oh, shit. Where was I? Just before it. Okay, well, right about there. Where is the whole rest of this? Okay. All the land in the middle between here and Bride. Thank you, by the way, for finally acknowledging that that's the town of Bride. Okay. Where is it? Really? Where is it? Now, yes, there is an inferior mirage going on here, but there's a whole lot more going on between here. Okay? That's why I told you take a photo from the shore. You are just, honestly, all you're doing is twisting words, and you're doing a horrible job of it. Okay? That's all you're doing. The inferior mirage, which you guys claim is dirty air, okay, is not what we see as the obstruction. Okay? Yes, it does obstruct that small sliver. but there's a lot more vertical land going on there.
Of the Earth, is it? It's the air above it being reflected in a mirage below it, known as an inferior mirage. Well done, Sly. You've just confirmed that the Earth that we live on isn't spherical. There is no curvature. But as you guys seem to need to take a picture from the top of a hill, and even then you don't see the whole island shoreline.
I want to hear this answer. Hold on. Let me make sure that he read it correctly.
To need to take a picture from the top of a hill, and even then you don't see the whole island shoreline. As many times you have been to this spot and take photos, not one photo from the water. Now answer why that is. It's because, Sly, you're going to get that mirage, and you can't see shit.
So the mirage gets bigger? Is that really it? So the mirage gets bigger. Hold on.
Photo from the water. Now answer why that is. It's because, Sly, you're going to get that mirage, and you can't see shit when you get that mirage.
You got that, right? Everybody heard that? Riley says that you would get, well, it would have to mean that you get more mirage as you go down lower. Okay. So go take the damn picture.
So I've responded. Quote, pay attention, Sean Hufford. This is what you do when you quote somebody.
Oh, taking shots at Sean, huh? What's Sean got to do with my video, Dick?
Cite them word for word. Don't change words. You don't gobbledygosh it. You don't regurgitate the cockroach that the frog's eaten accidentally and he shouldn't have eaten it, and you spit it back out in some other form. You cite.
You got some weird ideas about putting things in your mouth.
The man exactly the way he said it. You guys claim that is a dirty air or whatever, which, from the observer, would appear as an obstruction, not a reflection. So the obstruction isn't the curvature of the Earth, then, is it?
No, the obstruction is what you guys are claiming as dirty air, you dumbass. I'm talking about what you guys are claiming as dirty air. My God. This is... you can't even write this shit. Oh, hold on. Where is... No, that's that one, that one, that one. Okay. The dirty air being discussed, which would appear as an obstruction, is when you say that there is dirty air here. That would appear as an obstruction, as in it would look like you were looking through dirt. Dirty air. Okay? That's what I'm defining here as, which from the observer, which would be a guy down here, would appear as an obstruction, not a reflection. The reflection that you are seeing is because of the inferior mirage. You can't even, damn, you can't even twist words right.
I agree with you. It's an inferior mirage of the land above it, not a Fata Morgana, M. Scott Veitch. So, now we have the obstruction addressed, we can now address Ramsey. If the sky above the hills at Bride is being inverted below some obstructing point previously known as curvature, it makes logical and reasonable sense that the same is happening right next to the hills at Bride. Ramsey is obstructed by the same thing, the sky above it being an inferior mirage, which, quote, from the observer would appear as an obstruction, not a reflection. I totally agree. Ramsey is being reflected out of the image, appearing to be an obstruction wrongly interpreted by ballers as drop behind the curve of the Earth, when, as you correctly point out, its reflection, which, quote, from the observer would appear as an obstruction, not a reflection.
Its reflection, which, quote, from the observer would appear as an obstruction. No. I was talking about the dirty air, not the inferior mirage, you bonehead.
Thank you for proving the obstruction is reflection, not curvature, Sly. I always knew that you knew it was a ball. I always knew you knew it. Oh, I need to change that. It wasn't a ball. Trying to explain that obstruction forced you into describing the science I pretended I did not know. Thank you, Sly.
You pretended you didn't know. So, long story short, now, does he go into anything else here? Long story short, because he doesn't know how to read, it is his intention to say that I have disregarded curvature and instead substituted it for an inferior mirage. That's what he says. Don't know what to tell you about that, man. Really don't know what to tell you about that. Because that was why I wrote, hold on. That was why I wrote, where is it? Where was it? Yeah. Thanks for showing your comprehension skills. Okay. And by the way, that conversation actually did continue. Hold on. And here's what I said to him. Well, because this is where he stops. Okay. This is where he stops. Now I wrote to him like this. I said, damn, you're not even good at misinterpreting. He says, so the obstruction isn't the curvature of the earth, is it? And I said, wrong. The obstruction isn't dirty air. Okay. How did you get curvature of the earth from dirty air? This means the rest of your comment, perhaps I should speak in your English, is bollocks. Okay. The mirage discussion answered this, and that was thin layer of sky or colored air, separating it from the water horizon. Okay. My answer to curvature was this. Okay. The mirroring portion, when visible, is an inferior mirage, not difficult. But this does not account for the required vertical space which should be occupied by the missing land. Cool? Now we went on to other parts of this discussion. Scott came in, gave him a little bit of whatever. And let's see here. Then I also wrote, Riley, you're making yourself look silly, claiming that I said things that when if you scroll up, I said no such thing. Okay, because he went on to say it again. Sly has just confirmed that the obstruction we see is not the curvature of the earth, it's the inferior mirage. Finally, someone has admitted it. I've admitted no such thing in the context of the way you are stating it. I said that there's an inferior mirage. I didn't say it was the curvature. You understand that? Okay. Sly tells people that Ramsey has fallen behind the curvature of the earth. Unless you got a better explanation for me, maybe it's sunk. Okay. I'm just not going to read all the rest of this, but this is what I basically, this is what I did to him. Okay, because he kept on misinterpreting. So I said, okay, maybe I need to say this in small bite-sized words. So I gave him an analogy. I said, a photo of Isle of Man, where the entire vertical height of Isle of Man is identifiable from the Ramsey shoreline to the top of Snaefell. Not one of yours. Okay, I'm just giving a hypothetical. Let's swap out that vertical of the island with a photo of a person. The peak of Snaefell being the top of someone's head, and the shoreline be the soles of his shoes. Okay, what I am saying, and you keep getting wrong, is yes, an inferior mirage is there, but it's only occurring at the knees of the person. Okay, it might be a small exaggeration, but you get the point. At the knees of the person, but below the knees is still missing due to obstruction, not due to the mirage, which is what I just showed basically here. yes, there is a inferior mirage going on at the surface. Makes that nice little reflection upwards. Okay, but that space does not account for what's missing below here. That space only accounts for this little bit. Do you get it now? I said, this is what I meant. This is what I meant. And you should have understood when I said that this does not account for the required vertical space which should be occupied by the missing land. Okay? And then he keeps on going back to this guy Scott, telling him that, oh, no, he did say it. He did say it. Okay? And what do you call it? And he also, after giving him this very simple analogy, okay, over 3 hours, he didn't respond to it. And that's why I put out, because this was when I was driving home. And he said, I also said, and also note, Riley didn't address my simplified comment. Okay? Like I said, is there anything else in here? Oh, hold on, where am I at right now? 10:36. So, looks like he's going to go back and just rehash the same shit. Okay. Okay, well, I wouldn't be right if I didn't do all of it. So let's go like this.
Oh, thank you, Sly. So now what I'm going to have to do, edit that little bit. Wouldn't want to misspeak on something when I'm citing it, would I? Now let's just check, see whether he's responded to it.
Oh, he does go into that.
Ooh, might be missing. Oh no, he's responded 36 seconds ago. Damn, you are not even good at misinterpreting. So the obstruction isn't the curvature of the Earth, is it? Wrong. The obstruction isn't dirty air. How can you get curvature of the Earth from dirty air? This means the rest of your comment, perhaps I should speak your English, is bollocks. The mirage discussion answered this. The land has a thin layer of sky-coloured air separating it from the water horizon. Yeah, where's that coming from? My answer to curvature was this. The mirroring portion when visible is an inferior mirage. Not difficult, but this does not account for the required vertical space which should be occupied by the missing land. Thanks for showing your comprehension skills. Okay, let's now cite these words. The mirroring portion when visible is an inferior mirage. Not difficult, but this does not account for the required vertical space which should be occupied by the missing land. Okay, so
cool.
Let's go to the required vertical space of this land that should be behind the curve of the Earth. Where is the elevation on the north of the Isle of Man to account for this? I'm going to cite your words the way that Sean can't do. Okay, where is the elevation of land necessary to account for the required vertical space which should be occupied by the land? Where is all that land if it's supposed to be behind the curve of the Earth, Sly? Show us that land. Now we know that this band underneath is taking about 100 feet of the, or maybe 80 feet, because the whole of Ramsey is missing. So Ramsey's missing. Your claim is that it's the curvature of the Earth.
Hold on. Wait a minute.
Feet, because the whole of Ramsey's missing is taking about 100 feet.
100 feet. This part. This is that big berm. Well, let's see how high this is. Okay. Now, there's something to be said about using Google Earth, and that is if it's wrong everywhere. Meaning, the same part will be off for a general area. Now, 100 feet. So let's see. This is that berm, by the way. This is what that is. That's the beginning of the highest point after the kind of valley area there in the middle. Okay, this is the berm. So, now of course, this is going to be pointless to do this because of the fact that all he's going to do is argue the, what do you call it, the known discrepancies. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. It goes up this high because you would see that. Okay, so 83 meters. Okay, so bum, 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 bum. I know some of you can do this in your head. I can't. Meters to feet. Oops, my bad. Okay. What was that? That was like 82, something like that. 83. We'll just go for 83 there. 83 meters. 272. So let's see. So he's saying that half of this berm is now in what do you call it? In mirage. Half of that berm. Is that half of that berm? Is that half of that berm? Okay. It's not half of that berm, man. It's just not. Okay. I'm not going to sit here and bust all this stuff out. Okay, but he's saying that half of this berm is missing. Okay, it's more than half of the berm. Now, I do acknowledge that the Earth curve calculator, which is a excuse me, is a guideline for the math regarding a perfect sphere, which we know that the Earth is not. Also, I acknowledge the fact that the Earth curve calculator is going about that on a sphere which has no atmosphere. You do not acknowledge that either. Okay? So your discussions about a sliver of land that you won't take a photo of from the shore. Yeah.
Of the, well, maybe 80 feet, because the whole of Ramsey's missing. So Ramsey's missing. Your claim is that it's the curvature of the Earth, but you've just told us that it's an inferior mirage, and I've agreed with you.
No, I've said there's an inferior mirage there. I didn't say, which you love to misinterpret, and you've done it like this whole video. I didn't say that the inferior mirage was the curvature. Okay, I'm saying that there's an inferior mirage there. It's not substituting anything.
However, we know it's about 70 feet. That's blocking it out, and it's a mirage.
Wait a minute.
If it is supposed to be behind the curve of the Earth's line, show us that land. Now we know that this band underneath is taking about 100 feet of the.
This band underneath is taking about 100 feet. That is said in his video at 12:25.
Band underneath is taking about 100 feet of.
Taking about 100 feet. 100 feet. Okay.
Of the, well, maybe 80 feet, because the whole of Ramsey's missing. So Ramsey's missing. Your claim is that it's the curvature of the Earth, but you've just told us that it's an inferior mirage, and I've agreed with you. However, we know it's about 70 feet. That's
now it's 70
out,
feet.
and it's a mirage. So, can you tell me?
Can you tell me, is it 70, 80, or 100 feet?
Why we've got so much land sticking up above it, and it has to go 70 feet above the horizon to be seen. Not just the tippy toppies of it, Sly, all of it, and it has to be risen 100 feet. Otherwise, you're not going to be getting it above this layer of refraction. Okay?
Yeah,
why is that?
That whole area back there is higher.
Come on. The Earth is flat, Sly, and the reason why you can't see Ramsey is because there's a little bit of an inversion underneath. Inferior mirage.
Was that 70, 80, or 100 feet?
That's the obstruction that you guys want to believe is the curvature. But in real world, it's just the sky being flipped underneath itself, and we can't see it. And as you said, Sly, it would appear to the observer to be obstruction.
What? Not there. I'm talking about your dirty air, dumbass.
What more do we need? You've just proved that the Earth's flat.
No, all that's been proved here is you just, oh God. Where do you even start with shit like that? Your interpretation skills are, oh my God. I know toddlers that interpret things better than you. So, well, that was a cold reading. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Where do I even go with all that? Short end is, Riley, you need to learn how to read. You need to learn how to comprehend what people are telling you. Not once did I say the inferior mirage was in any way, shape, or form a swap out for curvature. Number two, you would have to be claiming now then that the dirty air is lower and looks like water. I mean, this had to do with one sentence. One sentence. And I even went back and showed it to you a couple of times, or explained it to you a couple of times in that thread. Okay, after the comment that you had just read last. Now, I must admit that there were comments that were posted after this video, so, you know, just being fair and honest there. I don't even know what to say to you about this, man. Okay? If you can't read, perhaps you should be stepping out of this game. Okay? If you can't read. So, anyway, I got to go eat, and then I have to go spend some quality time, at least on WhatsApp, if not something else, with my son, who's having a computer issue. Riley, you're an idiot, man. Go back to, next time you go back to St. B's, because I hear you're going to go back out there and do another remeasurement. Okay. Next time you go out to St. B's, you need to just go right ahead and get yourself a photo of the of Isle of Man from the shoreline. And let me close with some really cool stuff here. This is from Soundly. Thank you, Soundly. Beautiful, isn't it? Must be all the rest of this city must be like, you know, stuck in this little spot right here, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, I got the high sun to go eat, and maybe I can even take off my jacket now. And then after this, I'm gonna have a lot of fun trying to unscrew the problem with the computer. Riley, learn how to read. Rest of you guys, I hope you have a wonderful night. And for many of you, a great 3-day weekend. Okay? Y'all have a nice night.